Good night, everyone, and welcome to Money Moves, financial literacy for young leaders. Now, I am your host, of course, Clevena Brown, and I am beyond excited to be here with all of you as we dive into some real talk about securing my financial future as well as your financial future. So, tonight we'll be unlocking the secrets to smart saving, investing, and making money moves that actually matter. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking for new strategies, or this is actually the perfect place for you to learn, ask your questions, and level up your financial game. Now, it is an absolute pleasure to have with me here tonight our collaborating partners for our forum. We have the National Youth Council of Jamaica, and of course, our exclusive financial partner, we have First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union. Now, joining us currently, we have one of the presenters from First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union. I now would love to welcome Junior Thomas, who is the branch. Yes, I'd love to welcome Junior Thomas, who is the branch supervisor, to speak on building financial foundations. Good night.
Good night, good night, good night, good
How
night.
are you doing?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
It is absolutely our pleasure. So I'd love to speak to you more exactly about building, financial foundations for us as young people. And I'm sure you have a lot to express to us tonight. So do please take it away.
I do. Thank you, Kevina. Okay, as introduced, I am Junior Thomas, brand supervisor, First Heritage Credit Union, specifically MAPIN location. I want to engage you on a journey, and it's a financial journey, right? But first, let me ask, what is financial literacy, right? What does it mean to you, right? Financial literacy to me means the ability to use your knowledge and also your skills to make smart decisions about your money. And it also includes understanding how to earn money, how to save money, how to invest money, how to borrow money, as well as how to manage debt. Right now, we have some key aspects of financial literacy that you have to know, and they are, for example, budgeting. And budgeting is simply planning and managing your money. And all of us have to do that at some point, right? And also saving, which is very important, right? Means putting money aside for future use, right? All of us have to save. And also investing. A lot of us like to invest. So a part of being financially literate is also understanding how to invest, which is using your money and grow wealth. And also managing debt, because if we are going to be borrowing, we also have to understand how to manage debt, right? And it simply means understanding how much you owe and how much you need to pay back, right? And also managing credit. So understand how to use credit responsibly is also a very important aspect. And also taxes. So you understand, how taxes work and how it impact on your finances, right? So the benefits of financial literacy, however, in essence, is being able to make informed decisions about your money and avoiding predatory lending, building wealth, and achieving financial security. Now, I am from First Heritage Credit Union, so I want to introduce you to First Heritage Credit Union and the credit union movement in general, and to also inform you of where it started. Right now, the credit union movement started in Jamaica specifically as far back as 1939, right? And that was after the labor riots that saw working class um, persons clash with their employers about inhumane working conditions and also unfair pay. Now, in those days, the poor were lucky, or they were not so lucky to get loans from the bank, but the process was hard, and they were rarely successful in acquiring these loans. though the lenders were even eager to lend them the money, but they used to charge them very high interest, right? So the founders of the credit union movement decided that they are going to come up with a union, to assist the poor persons, right, in being financially stable. So to give the poor and disenfranchised a means of financial capital and security, they formed the credit union movement. Now, on September 12, 1941, right, the CYMS Credit Union was formed. Right? It was the first credit union in Jamaica, right? The Sodality Credit Union. And their motto at the time was not for profit, not for charity, but was for service, right? Now, First Heritage Credit Union itself, right, was formed out of this practice. And on August 1st, 2012, the Churches Credit Union and the GSB Credit Union merged to form the entity called First Heritage Credit Union, right? A winning credit union in Jamaica. So First Heritage Cooperative Union, who are we? We are one of the largest open bond credit union in Jamaica. And what does that mean? Having an open bond means that technically anyone can join the credit union. So, say for example, you have the Trelawney Credit Union, you might have the Manchester Corp Credit Union, for example. Those credit unions mainly cater to persons living and working in that space. But anyone from across Jamaica can be a member of our credit union. So the onboarding process is very easy. So combined, First Heritage have over 100 years of existence in Jamaica when we combine our histories. So we currently serve over 2,000 members through a network of 11 locations island-wide, and we offer an array of products and services. So these products and services are specifically designed to meet the needs of um, every person, every individual at every stage of your life. So we are a lifestyle brand. So we offer services such as savings, loans, insurance, investments, pensions, and the list goes on. So for members who are just starting out, those who are financially savvy, those who are investment oriented, and those who are not so savvy and not so oriented, we cater to you also because we are here to hold your hand, right? So our commitment remains to generate continual benefits for our members, and we continue to uplift them. So as a credit union, we want to create and foster winning mindsets, and we want to foster mentalities, um, winning mentalities throughout our membership. And we want to see you grow. We want to see you improve. We want to see you become financially literate. So we encourage you to come into us, and if it's not even to us, but doing some research and getting a better idea as to how to manage your finances, right? But nevertheless, First Heritage Credit Union is here for you, and we welcome you with open arms. So that is a brief introduction of what is financial literacy, and introducing you to First Heritage Credit Union in general, and who we are.
All right, thank you so much for that, Mr. Thomas. I actually think I learned just a little bit there from you, understanding what exactly financial literacy means. I think it's a term that we throw around a lot. It's actually having informed decisions, to being able to understand that this is the money that I have right now. And in order to be able to do something sensible with it, these are my options, and the options that you clearly explain that the credit union offers, whether you want to do savings or you want to go an investment route. So I found that very informing that you decided to share that, and I'd love to see if even our viewers were able to know that before. Did you know what financial literacy was? Were you able to tell before Mr. Thomas started? If so, we'd love to hear your feedback in the comment section. But a very well-rounded introduction of the union itself. So Mr. Thomas, he's not alone, as you would have figured. So we have the rest of the FHC team here, and I'd love to go ahead and bring them on into the conversation. So we do have Norman Williams, who is the branch manager for FHC. Thank you for being here. How are you?
Thank you, Clevena. Good evening to you and, of course, to the other presenters. It's really my pleasure to be here. It's all about financial literacy, and as you call it, money moves. And it's not a dance move we're talking about. We're talking
No.
about how we can better ourselves as young people, as well as an individual.
Awesome. Definitely. And I see someone in the chat here, Jeanette Bartley, saying that they didn't know what financial literacy was. So this was actually very informative. So thank you very much for that presentation there, Mr. Thomas. So I'd now love to also welcome, we have the brand sales representative, Teia Swaby. Hello, Miss Swaby.
Good night, Miss Brown. Good night, Miss Witter. Good night, team. Good night, the youth leaders here. Thank you for having me.
Good night. It's always a pleasure here at SRC. And now moving on to our other partner, I now welcome the National Youth Council of Jamaica's financial controller. We have Denton Dunkley.
Good night, everyone, and it's good to be here representing the youths. I'll
Of
speak up to
course,
them any chance.
of course, you have youths here in the house. It wouldn't be a well-rounded conversation if we weren't we didn't have
Not
a
at
seat
all.
at the
Not at all.
table, right? And I also have the assistant financial controller. We do have Shammar Bell.
Yes, good night, everyone. Thank you for having me on.
Hey Shamar, it's a pleasure. So now going into the segment that I love the most, the panel discussion. Now, we talked about financial literacy. We established what exactly it is. So now I want to go in, we know that saving is a thing that we can do to help build our finances. But how exactly can we make our money work for us? How can we make our money work for us beyond just saving, right? So the first question that I love to throw out there is saving money. We understand that it is very important, okay? But in today's economy, is it enough? Is saving really enough? What should young people be doing just beyond the saving? I'd love for that question to be answered.
Well, if I could jump in right away, Pavina, I would say for young persons, it's important to look for opportunities to earn more. It's very important. There are several opportunities that are coming up. Um, we have, young people have a lot of talent. It's important. Make yourself marketable. Marketability is critical. That is how you can, move from one area to another. And as we call it in the industry, pivoting. It's also important to have a good network. You want to be in the know, and of course, I would say stay balanced and grounded.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great response. I think you can also parallel that to also saving and having money. Maybe one option may not work for you all the time. You have to be able to, as you rightfully said, pivot, learn how to make your money work for you, put it different places. And so it's very interesting that you said that. So that leads me to my next question that I love to ask. So what are the best ways for young people to actually grow their money in 2025? Like, how can they pivot with that money to make it work for them? I'd love to ask a member of the FHC team to go ahead and answer that question for me.
All right, so let me hear the question again, Clevena.
Sure, no problem. So, what are the best ways for young people to grow their money in 2025?
All right, so I'll say there are several ways, and you said the best ways, but there are several ways, and that's the key thing because in this new environment that we're in, several opportunities are coming up. I know persons who may want to create a course and put it online based on your own expertise. You know, persons may want to do, say, proofreading um, for other persons. Persons may want to be a social media influencer or a digital marketer. That is very popular right now. Persons may want to do audiobook narration. That's key. If you are into craft, you may want to create a product that is unique. We have a thriving tourist industry, and I think it's important that young people know that that opportunity is there. You know, of course, you know there is also website development, and of course, I know the government has been speaking about coding, and that's the new buzzword. So those are some opportunities in 2025 that I think if as a young person, if you have a drive, there are so many things that you can do that will help you.
I think that was very encouraging to share. And I think it's also, oh, Tia, would you like to say something?
Yes, and may I add as well, Clavina. I know for we have some entrepreneurs here as well who would like to go into small businesses as well. So, for example, persons can invest also in poultry farming. That is just an example. Like, do start up a small business in operation, and you know that that is a good investment as well, something to start out from.
Yes, definitely. I think there's always room for opportunity and for growth in order for you to really maximize your dollars. So I'm loving what I'm hearing here because it sounds to me that the union is actually recognizing the different ways that we can actually achieve money, and there's a place for it there at the union for it to grow. Because something very important that he mentioned was moving away from more so the traditional ways in which I think adults and the older people tend to recognize earning money. There's other ways, there's digital products, and I love that you guys mentioned that because that's also a way that we could fund ourselves to then go ahead and allow our money to grow, whether in investments or otherwise. You
And
know, go ahead.
our mindset, Clevena, is also very important where saving is concerned, because a lot of us, even as young persons, we seem to believe that we need to have a lot of money to be able to save, but we're not thinking about putting aside probably some of the lunch money, some of the school fees, some of the gift that we might get here and there, and you would be surprised where that can lead you. And even to start those small initiatives that Mr. Williams and Ms. Swaby spoke about a while ago, that can be put towards that. But it is all left up to the mindset at the end of the day, and how you view saving.
Right.
Right.
And I'd also mention as well, if I may, through you, Ms. Presenter, content creation. That's very
Yes.
important. And when you create content, it's not just necessarily for today. You know, it stays around for a long while. So your content, as you create it now, could earn you way into the future based on what you have done. And there's another one, photography. You know, we have a lot of smartphones around in our pockets lying around, and we are on social media. If we see something interesting, you know, maybe a plant, a flower, you know, a great sunset, that can earn you money. That can earn you money once you trademark and put it in the right hands, you know. So that's another opportunity.
Of course, definitely. So for all my young people in the chat, I would love if you could comment down below what are some out of the box ways that or ways that you're growing your money in 2025. Comment it down below. Let's hear from you. So moving right along, I'd love to also bring into the chat Dunkley. Now, Denton, I'd love to ask you, what are some of the biggest financial struggles you've seen young leaders and youth advocates face today?
Thanks for that question, Mr. Brown. I think Mr. Thompson would have done so well in highlighting some of the challenges that we face. And I must say that one of the biggest issues that I've realized is that young people, they know how to make money, but not how to manage it. Also, there are several other challenges, and when we look at limited income, you have young people like myself who are working at the same time while going to school, doing part-time jobs, and sometimes it can get overbearing when you pay out all that you need to pay out. And then I heard one of the presenters are going to step on my toe by saying that taking out somewhat of the school fee and somewhat of the bills, right? But these are some of the challenges that we have. And when we do these things, that there's just less to save or to invest. Also, I'm glad that FHC had highlighted financial literacy, because that's another area that we are lacking in with young people. They are not so aware of financial literacy, and this now causes a gap that often allow the money management not to be so effective and will lead to poor financial habits. Also, for those who know about this one, some persons run away from it and shy away from it. Debt management. Now, debt management, sometimes we have students who are balancing their student loans, credit cards and stuff, and other obligations while trying to save or invest, and that can also be overwhelming. I've heard different experiences, especially from the student loan perspective. And there's one that I want to end with, is the short-term thinking. Now, there are things that will allow us to, our immediate needs and financial pressures that often overweigh us for long-term financial planning. So making sure that we learn how to build wealth and to manage the money. Yes, it's good to make it, and it's good to come in with the income and stuff. And then because we have this thing that is called Sheen and the others, sometimes the young people are leaning to that era and stuff. And not realizing that, hey, I need to calm down on the spending a little bit. So those are some of the challenges that I know for sure that the young people have.
Definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's a part of learning that we have to go through as young people, differentiating your needs, what you need from what you
want.
And Clevena, let me just add to what Denton said as well. Because what he has highlighted as well is peer group pressure. So your colleague or your friend has an item that is trendy, and you think that you must get it.
Right.
And then, of course, it's not a must. And of course, because you may not have had that in your budget,
exactly,
you have to find it from somewhere. So what he's saying and what we are endorsing is that you have that habit of saving first, and then the discipline of sticking to what you can afford. Very important. And as you mentioned, managing debt. First Heritage Credit Union offers a special opportunity for young persons, because it's a part of our mandate. Young persons, we are a credit union where young persons feel like they are family, and we offer that support, that advice to our young persons.
Awesome. I think you touched on. Oh, go ahead.
No, if I might, Mr. Norman just spoke about something that I should have highlighted. I actually had it. That speaks to societal pressure. Now, we have something that is called social media. It can allow our young people to be so depressed. Why? We go on social media and not remember that some of these persons are just living a life. They are just living a happy face, like, my handsome face now. They just have this face, and then behind all of that, there is just so much chaos. And then the young people now are pressured into, when they go to social media, oh, if I don't have the latest iPhone, yes, we can talk about it for a little bit. If I don't have the latest iPhone, if I don't have the latest bag or shoes and stuff, and there are so much pressures, and it just not only deals with them financially, but mentally as well. So we have to be careful of that, young people, because trust me, you see the spirit of Sheen? Yeah.
Yeah, I see Daniel Stevens, she mentioned that no jokes, you drape me with the sheen comment. And I see Peter Gay Stedford saying that you're stepping on some toes. So I think it's very important to highlight that discipline is something that we need to get in check as young people. So I'd love to bring up smart budgeting and financial planning for growth because it's very important that we have discipline in order to stick to the budget that we create. So I'd love to ask now, many young people they feel like they don't earn enough to budget or invest. So where exactly should they start? FHC team, I think this is yours, of course.
All right. So I would say first start with knowing your income. It's important to know what you have because that is how it's going to be distributed. Of course, if you want more income, you'll have to try and earn more. But start from there. Start by first having a budget, looking at your main items, your critical items, and ensure those are covered first. We also encourage savings. We are saying that ideally you want to save between 20 to 30% of your income, whether it be weekly or monthly. And some persons may say, "Boy, that's a lot, Mr. Williams." But if you have a goal in mind, then you will understand that that is your ultimate plan, and that's how you're going to get there. So start by knowing what is it that your earning is, and how you will plan a budget around that earning. All right, and then of course look at what the critical expenditures are, and ensure those are covered first. And importantly, I'm going to kind of go off script a little bit because we talk about Sheen and so on. I believe that you should also, from time to time, treat yourself. It's important. Treat yourself every now and then. You're not working just to pay bills and so on. But every now and then, you must treat yourself. But then we spoke about discipline earlier. Discipline is important. You may even want to have a mentor, someone who will say, no, don't do that. This is a better way. So those are some of the suggestions that I would put forward.
Okay, very insightful feedback there, Mr. Williams. And I think that's something very important that you brought up, that having someone to hold you accountable, like an accountability partner, goes a long way. And I'm sure someone could find an accountability partner, mentor at FHC for sure. Well, again, that's what you guys are here for, to provide that assistance and guidance. So I'd love to also bring in Shammar into the conversation. Shammar, I'd love to ask, how can young professionals and student leaders effectively manage money when working with limited or irregular income?
Yes. Let me just highlight the fact that I am a university student. So what I'm talking about is factual information, and I've seen my peers implement it and try to find strategies and how they can budget their money. And so the first thing that I will point out is the fact that we need to encourage or normalize budgeting and prioritize essential spending because as a student that live on hall, right, I'm a person, I'm not going to see myself go to the fast food, but go buy KFC, go buy Burger King. I will see myself budgeting, and right now currently I am learning how to budget. I am, and not only that, I inspire people to budget as well. And that's one point. The second point I will look at is to seek alternative income streams. Right. I've encountered persons, they are working and going to school as well. Either they're full time or part time. I've seen persons are working the night shift and working on the weekend and still studying for school as well. And the third point that I will look at is the fact that persons need to seek leverage, discounts, and cost cutting strategies, right?
Mm.
Find ways you can try to substitute a good and still get the same outcome. If you get what I'm saying, because I'm an econ student, right? And I try to find an opportunity cost where I can still get the same, a different good and still get the same outcome, right? And so, and the last point I want to point out is be strategic with saving and investment, right? And I want to point out that the old traditional ways of getting income, right, we'll probably have to disregard it right now, because now we have persons are doing freelancing, you have persons on social media getting views and promoting the products for brands, and they become ambassadors for brands as well, and so they get stipends. And so persons need to think out of the box and lean more towards social media and try to exploit it and try to get what do you call it again, get revenue from it. And so if persons can look at that form, persons can even still work their 9 to 5 jobs as well and still get their income, right? Because persons, I've encountered persons or persons are saying that, oh, this inflation that we're going through as a college student, I can't afford this, I can't afford things on Shein, etc. And when persons say, okay, I'm working more than one job and still getting what I want in life, right? I normally encourage persons to look at that stream. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamar. I think you really highlighted something very important is figuring out what works for you. They always say that, the comparison is the thief of joy. And you touched on that a little bit. Focus, stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane and focus on what you can do for your pocket. Your pocket is your pocket, and you have to be very mindful of that.
Can I
Yes.
add something as well?
Go ahead.
All right, so just this happened to me recently, and I want to really talk to my young people. No, there's something that we think that for me in my own terms. So when you get the pay and stuff and you do that, emergency fund is very important. So last month I was sick, right? And after coming out of the festive season, we know that the festive season for January it's always 90 days. We know about that joke about 90 days of January. And in that time, managing my money properly, I was able now to go into some funds that I had to actually go to the doctor. Right. So it is important as well that while we are all doing and stuff, anything can happen at any point, and you'll need to go to see a doctor. It don't have to be doctor related. It can be anything that needs to be an emergency. So it's always important as well to have an emergency fund that when anything happen unexpectedly, that you can be able to show up.
And I can tell you also that you have persons coming to the credit union some days, not knowing that they have that emergency fund, Denton, because guess what? No, they have stashed that away from them time there, and did not even remember about it. And it is in instances like these that you remember that emergency fund. But all in all, what we're saying is that we have to live within our means. And at the credit union, when we're doing certain assessments, we have something that we call the debt service ratio. That is essentially weighing your income versus your expenditure, and weighing both of them, right? And finding that balance, because essentially that is what it is, finding balance, Shamar. That's what you were hinting at earlier, finding that balance between what you earn, Mr. Williams, and what you spend.
Right. In fact, if I add a little more to that, Denton, I'm sure will relate to this, and the young persons in the audience, I'd love to probably explain a little more. There's something we call stress test. No, that means what? As the word suggests, is testing something. So testing your income as it is now with the what ifs. What if? And Denton mentioned it a while ago. What if you have an emergency? So you want to do that stress test on your income. What if I don't have as much income? can I still pay my bills comfortably? And I think everybody needs to just stop and think about that. What if my income is reduced? Can I continue to pay my bills, my phone, my whatever arrangements that you have? So it's important, and hence the reason why you want to have more than one income stream
Right.
based on your talent. Or if you have to pivot quickly to something else, how
Yes.
marketable are you? And I mentioned it earlier.
Right. So you mentioned, Mr. Williams, that stress test. Now, in order for us to pass that test, because I would love to pass, and I think everyone here would love to pass. Now,
Yes.
what are some realistic budgeting strategies for young leaders for us to be able to balance our personal expenses, school, and if we have community work as well? How can we pass that stress test? How can
All
we do
right.
that?
So, as I said earlier, you want to know your income, and if, of course, you have a big appetite, then obviously you want to have a big income. And if your income stream is not as large as you want to, then of course you have to expand. You can do other things. And we mentioned several options that you could do. We spoke about content creation, we spoke about web development, and so on. But there are some critical ones, we call them recurring expenses, that must be accounted for. So as a young person, you may not have rent or mortgage at this time, but at some point you may. And what we're trying to do is to encourage you. We're giving you financial literacy now. So when you get to that stage where you are buying a home, and by the way, as a young person, it's a good time to buy a home. And the reason, Clevena, is that you get more time to pay for that mortgage. All right, you get a longer time to pay before you are retired. So I was saying that you want to ensure that those recurring expenses are accounted for. Whatever it is that are must should be accounted for first. And if based on who you're living, and we want to live within our means, but if you think you want to expand your means a little bit more, it means that you have to expand your income streams. Very critical. But it's important, as I just want to reiterate, look at those recurring expenses first. Ensure that they're accounted for and you can't go wrong.
Right. I think I may not be the best in accounting, but I do remember you have fixed expenses. Yes.
Yes.
So I think it's important for us to understand what that is so we know that we budget set aside, don't touch this set of money because it is needed for
Right.
this specific purpose every single month. So thank you for highlighting that and really driving it home that discipline is really the core focus. Now you also touched on something a while ago that is very important, that if your wants in life are more than what your income is, you need to find ways to make more income. So that leads me to another series of questions that I'd love to ask that are centered around entrepreneurial thinking and really maximizing opportunities that we may be faced with as young people. So, my first question I'd love to ask now, with inflation and rising costs, how can young people create multiple streams of income beyond a 9 to 5 job?
All right. So, Clevenia, is inflation, that is really a tricky one because um, inflation now in Jamaica is very very high, and it is higher than interest rates if you look at it, right? So how do you combat that, right? And as you rightfully said, um, it's entrepreneurship and having a spirit or having that entrepreneurial spirit that will assist us because before Tia came off, she spoke to something as simple as even poetry farming, right? Doesn't take a lot of money to start, right? But it takes that initiative, right? And Mr. Williams pointed it out earlier, right? That sometimes a regular 9 to 5 alone is not able to assist. So a part of combating that inflation is to find other revenue streams. And First Heritage has a what we call a micro and small business loans arm, where we facilitate small businesses, and we also just don't leave them there, but we help them to grow. And we have fostered a lot of small business on the island for a long time, and we have seen them grow and we have seen the benefits. So we know that having that entrepreneurial spirit is very, very important. And if you come and have a talk with us, I'm sure we can find ways and creative ways at that, because it also depends on your situation and the resources that you have at hand. Because guess what now? For example, a poultry farm, probably you wouldn't be able to start a poultry farm because you you possibly don't have the land to start it, right? But you're very creative. You're good at doing videos on your computers, so you can do TikToks, as Mr. Williams pointed out earlier. You know, you can go on YouTube and stream some how to do videos. Get some views and that type of thing, right? But we have to find creative ways, essentially, of how to combat inflation. Is very, very, very difficult, but I'm sure that the First Heritage can assist in finding ways how to do that.
Right, and if I may add as well, Juno, I think as a young person, we shouldn't be shying away from not knowing what is happening in the macro economy. And so, for example, the inflation rate, as BOJ has highlighted, they want it to be within a range of 4 to 6%. And so, in a general way, they have been maintaining that. Obviously, you want to know what that is, because guess what? You want to know what return you will need to get to be above inflation. So if you're between, if you're getting a return of 3%, you're underwater. If you're getting over the inflation rates based on what you have invested, so your investment could be anything, as Jonah just said, it could be investing in content creation, it could be a poultry operation. But having looked at what it is that you want to earn from that investment, it must be higher than inflation, right? It must be higher than inflation, and it must be worth your while. So, for example, at First Heritage Credit Union, we have several linkages. We have one with the Development Bank of Jamaica that offers several programs and initiatives for young persons and persons who want to start or grow a business. So, as we speak about, employment being low right now, we still want young persons to not say, okay, I want to be employed only. We want you to use your talent to create your own personal wealth. And we also speak to generational wealth. And that is not just for yourself, but for your family to come. So it's important.
Yes, that's actually very important. Allowing yourself to find what you can use, because sometimes the things that we can use to generate income are not necessarily things to buy and sell. Sometimes you are probably your own service, your talent yourself is your own means of generating some sort of income. And I'd also love to highlight something very important that Mr. Thomas mentioned, this loan opportunity or grant opportunity. So if there's any small business owners in the chat, comment down below here. There's an opportunity for you to be able to receive a loan. Who knows? So I'd love to welcome into the conversation Teia. Now, what are some financial tools or accounts that are available at First Heritage at FHC right now to support the young savers, investors, or the business owners that are in the chat right now that are logged on?
Thank you very much, Miss Brown. Again, a good night to all my youth leaders here. So, tonight I'll be talking about a few savings opportunity that First Heritage offers that can help you in making that money move at different stage in life. So, starting at a young age, we offer youth accounts. The youth acronym stands for Young One United in Thrifty Habits, a sensible way to introduce a child to important smart money management. This account is targeted at young savers up to 17 years of age. Youth savers are rewarded for their effort with an opportunity to win 4 scholarships per year and a chance to participate in competitions in addition to other incentives that the credit union offer. The minimum to start this youth account is $200. Interest is paid annually, and as I said, we have scholarship opportunities. Benefit of having this account, having an account and a debit card, a master debit card in your name at a very young age. Also, you'll be saving towards that dream gift to purchase an iPhone or a toy truck or fast food because we all love that fast food sometimes, which is not good for us. Saving as well to purchase gift for our parents, for a girlfriend, for a spouse. As I said, it's a different stage of life on special occasion. The the 4 scholarship that the credit union offers are the PEP scholarship. You know, this is where you are eligible to get a scholarship from the credit union from primary when you're moving from primary to a secondary education. We also offer the Ronald Mason Scholarship, the Oswald Torborn Scholarship, and First Heritage Sports Scholarship. All these are scholarships offered at the tertiary level. With sports as our leading pillar in Jamaica, the First Heritage Foundation is supporting one tertiary level student each year who is pursuing sports education. We also have what we call a starter account. Remember, we're moving from that stage of life. So we have the youth account that that this is for youth account holders up to age 17. So the starter account now, this is an account for a student from age 18 to 24 or unemployed or low income earners. The minimum to open this account is 750 Jamaican dollars. Attaining age 25, however, this account will be upgraded to a regular membership account. The amount to open that account is 3,650. So remember, you have an opportunity to start a youth account moving from the birth up to age 17 and then have a starter account for a different age at age 18 to 24. If applicant, however, reside overseas, this will disqualify the applicant from opening a starter account with the credit union. However, they will be advised to open a regular member account. Also, Miss Brown was stating a little bit about loans. One particular loan that we offer for students is what we call a work and travel loan. This loan is actually for students attend university who wish to travel overseas on work and travel programs available under the Ministry of Labor. You must be a full-time student. You must be the first or second year of college. Final year students are not ineligible. You must maintain a 2.0 GPA. Applicant can access up to 300,000 unsecured. A guarantor is needed as a sweetener about this particular loan. Your payback is 12 months after disbursement. So these are just some of the sweet products that credit union offers for the different stage of life.
Whoa, that was very lovely. So, all my work and travel goers, there's a way to help you finance it this go around. Don't miss out. It's there at FHC for you to get. So please, if that's something that you want to do, they have a lot of options here for you to go ahead and be involved in. So I'd love to go ahead and ask also.
Question: what is the rate for the work and travel? to borrow the loan?
Okay, so it's 35% handling fee. So once the loan is disbursed, the interest, so you pay 35% handling fee on the loan, which is added to the loan. So you know there's no interest paid on the loan till after the 12 months. If the loan is not repaid in the 12 months period, then the interest will start accumulating after.
So for me, add team. So the intention is that a student may opt to travel overseas, earn some extra money, earn some extra money. We say big bucks, but we won't say that today. Earn some extra money and repay an amount that was borrowed to facilitate that travel. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of successes where that product is concerned. It is exciting.
Awesome. Now, I'd love to go ahead and also include Denton into the conversation, as we're beginning to move into our next segment. Now, are you aware of any other grants or financial support, Denton, to help young people start their financial journey?
Yes, I am aware, but as I said, I'm advocating for the young people tonight. So sometimes it can be really discouraging too, because as you know, that might not all of them get through, and that's okay. There are some that I know. Of course, we have. For those who know that the Ministry of Education also offers tertiary and some tertiary grants to students, whether you're in first up to, I think it's first to fourth year, you must maintain a GPA of 2.5 as well. I think I am a recipient of that as well. I think you get it's either 100,000, trying to remember, but there is a scholarship and it goes and it depends on the fields as well. So there are other scholarship opportunities as well, with different banks, as the credit unions as well. They offer those scholarships and grants as well. Of course, student loan, is another way. I know that a lot of persons shy away from it, but if you want to finance your education, you have a wide range. But the thing is, sometimes the qualifications and what is really required can also be, a little discouragement for the young people and stuff. But those are some that I know. And there are other government agencies that provide scholarship, also other organizations. I know that National, Excelsior, and there are other companies, you'll see them from time to time. And also your MPs also have scholarships that you can, and grants that you can get also.
All right. Thank you so much for highlighting those. I wasn't aware of um the different ways in which I could go ahead and get that type of funding. So very insightful conversation going on here. And also, if you could comment in the chat if you can, were you aware of all of these different ways of funding to start your financial journey? I'd love to hear from you. If you could go ahead and comment in the chat. Now, as you mentioned that, now we have to talk about something that is very serious, which is overcoming financial challenges that we may have as young people, and of course long-term wealth strategies. Now, my first question I'd love to ask for this topic is, what are some common money mistakes young people make, and how can we avoid them? Love to throw that out to FHC team member.
And Clevena, if I may start, one of the common mistakes that we make as young people, and a lot of us make that mistake, is that we're not patient. That's the word, patient. Um, we often like the start of life with a bang. So immediately after we leave school, come out of university, right? Oftentimes the first thing that we decide that we want, is a car. And not discouraging anybody from buying their dream car or anything like that, but sometimes we have to look at the reality of life and what it is, because a car in itself is a liability, right? So it leads me to say that we have to know what are our assets in life, and what are our liabilities, and also know what our priorities are, because we oftentimes forget those things, right? And success takes time, so we have to be patient as young people, in doing what we're doing, and understand that life is a progression. So you might leave university with that student loan, that we all dread, and we want to get rid of it. No, but it is not going anywhere. No. So it takes time, right? And we might not be earning the income right off the bat to be able to manage a student loan plus manage a car loan. And yes, you might want a house as well because you're tired of living, with a family member, or you're tired of paying rent if that is the case, but be patient. So that would have been my first.
Right.
All
And
right.
just as
Thank
well, Clevena,
Miss
add as
Mr.
well.
Williams. We're gonna actually go into our final
Oh,
wrap up.
that's fine. That's fine.
Yes. So I'm going into my final wrap up, but before I do that, I'd love for Tia to also could you go ahead and mention the scholarships that you have there, please?
Sure. So the scholarship that we offer are the PEP scholarship, the Ronald Mason scholarship, the Oswald Torn scholarship, and the FHC sports scholarship, because we're not leaving out the athletes.
All right, thank you very much for that highlight. So now I'd love to wrap it all up together now with this question. So if you could give young people one smart money move to start today that could change their financial future, now what would that be? I would love one member of the FHC team to answer, and of course, one member from the NYCJ to answer.
All right. So let me jump in for Team FHC. And so one suggestion that I'll put forward is and it's a simple one, start a retirement fund early. Start a retirement fund early. The earlier you start, the more you have at the end when you no longer can earn that income. So that's my recommendation.
Thank
All right.
you. That's early.
Can I give one?
Sure, go ahead.
So, the one smart money move would be start saving and investing now. No matter how small the amount, building good financial habits early on, like consistently settling aside money for saving or investing, creates a compounding wealth over time. Start small is better than waiting for the perfect time to start. And as your income grows, your saving and investment can grow with you. This habit will sustain, will have a huge impact on long term financial success. Remember to wise up.
Those are, you took the words out of my mouth. It's really understanding what it's all about and focusing on how can I get to this goal. Wise up. Denton, of course, is not complete without the young people, so of course I'd also love to hear from you. What's your one smart money move to someone here tonight?
I'll just piggyback on what Shammar just said. Wise up, young people. It's not only about to make the income, but how to manage it. Wise up. That's my final words to you.
All right, that's actually very lovely. You guys heard it here. Wise up. This year is the year for money moves. It's February now. We're just starting, and you have time to actually make those money moves, to make those investments. Now, if there's any question in the chat by any chance, if anyone would love to throw in a question, now is the chance if you do, so that someone could be able to answer for you. So I love that to give some time to marinate. But of course, this was the SRC forum. Now, of course, following this episode, we will have a blog post upcoming that will have a recap of all of the highlights from tonight. So if you're just joining in, don't worry. There will be a blog to recap everything about tonight's proceedings for you, from the highlights to very important important pieces of advice, it will be on the forum on the SRC website. So of course, you can also stay connected with us here at SRC, because Thursday we will also have community safety and security. There's going to be Child's Rights Series 2025, and there's much more here on the SRC to connect you. So you can also review our posting schedule on Instagram for a lot more details. It's listed out there for you to be able to look and see. I don't see any questions here in the chat currently. So it's actually been a pleasure here hosting this forum for you guys. Thank you to our collaborating partners. Of course, it could not have been a forum or a panel discussion without you both. We have First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union, of course, the FHC team. It's been a pleasure having you. And we have the National Youth Council of Jamaica, of course, representing the youths, being our spokespeople, our spokesman for tonight. So thank you. And of course, to our viewers, it would not have been possible without you tuning in, watching. Of course, I see some positive feedback here in the comments. It's been absolutely lovely. So until then, I'll see you next month, every second Tuesday. And I am, of course, your host, Clevena Brown. And I wish everyone here a pleasant good night.
The SRC Youth Empowerment Live Forum is brought to you on second Tuesdays at 8 p.m. in collaboration with our national youth groups. Visit our website at www.serenityresourceconnector.com and subscribe to receive our weekly blog post. Join us again on Thursday at 8 p.m. for our Community Safety and Security Live Forum in partnership with the JCF Area 3 Police.